Was Jesus an outdoorsman?
Well, he called fishermen. He spent a lot of time in the wilderness. I'd say, yeah.
Hey, did you know people are actually spending thousands of dollars just to go outside?
And doctors are even prescribing it.
Jesus spent a lot of time alone in the wilderness.
Which makes you wonder, why?
This episode is brought to you by Backbone Coffee and First Form. Watch or listen.
You should do that.
Casting their faith to reach this world.
Of the word of faith, and God began to heal the people.
Said it's crazy that happened.
She looks like the moon. She looks like the moon. Is what you
Doesn't
said.
mean it's me. I'm just saying that's what she looked like.
Fish on. Welcome back to the Casting Faith podcast.
Welcome back, John.
Jonathan Miller.
Good to be back.
That was nice. Anyways, welcome back, man. We have none other than Reverend Jonathan Miller in studio once again.
One of the raging Cajuns.
Yes, sir.
Good to be here.
Man, John has been a wonderful guest on this show in the past, and you should go back and listen to some of those episodes.
I think he's the guest with the most appearances.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I apologize.
I don't think it's a problem, but it's a good thing. But welcome back, man. Super glad that you're in. What's new, everybody? You guys, dude, I'm coming down from the holiday. Like I had 2 weeks off, and yeah, it was fun. It was interesting, and we are, man. You know what? Actually, I had an entire tray of Christmas fudge all to myself.
I don't like fudge.
I love fudge.
I can't do it.
Certain fudge, I can.
I don't think I've had one that I like.
Dude, I was
peanut butter.
Yeah, peanut butter
It's
chocolate.
too thick. I just
Thick.
Yeah.
That's never a negative thing.
Well, I was at the point where I was staying up until 1 or 2 in the morning, sleeping in past 12. Or not 12, that's a lie. It was like 11 or 10. And man, it was
eating 50 chicken nuggets.
No, but
playing UFC.
It was like those days again. And dude, Hillary's aunt made a bunch of fudge, and like when I say a bunch of fudge, there were literally 4 trays of fudge in my house.
Say bunch of fudge.
Bunch of fudge.
Look at you go.
First form. Anyways, I had it's kicking in.
That was good.
What was I saying? Fudge. First form. I had a bunch of fudge. And it was trays of it, and there were cookies everywhere. And of course, I just had them, and I was getting to the point where I'd wake up, and I would have a piece of fudge. And I would go to the living room, have a piece of fudge.
That's living.
And I got so sick of fudge.
Oh.
And then on the day after Christmas, after all the other festivities, I step on the bathroom scale for the first time in probably 8 months.
While eating a piece of fudge.
And your boy is a little overweight. So I'm the heaviest I've ever been right now.
Are you really?
100%.
Congrats.
And I don't feel good. And also, I was super sick. You guys heard it last episode, but I was super sick for like ever. And so I got to get back on that scale.
That fudge got you through, though, right?
Mm-hmm. It did. It made it worse. It gained a few pounds whilst being sick. And so, yeah.
Bulking up.
Yeah, we'll say that.
We had our don't say New Year, New You thing, and I hit the workout grind back again.
Yep, we're now on the new year, new me. I looked at the scale and it said, "Hey, you better figure out the new you."
So I hit the weights pretty hard Sunday night, and then Monday got tremendously sick. So that was awful. I told my wife the worst part about this is I'm puking. The worst part about this is I just did an upper body workout, so literally everything hurts as soon as I move.
Yeah.
So it was miserable, but we're good. We're good now. We're back to 100%, and
That's awesome.
I had that Nova virus that everybody's got.
Yeah, that was fun. It lasted a long time.
Do you know that 50% of the U.S. population has that virus right now?
It's miserable. It's the hardest hitting flu in 50 years, I read.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, our immunity should be really nice and strong.
You know what kept me from getting that virus?
Fudge.
Fudge.
I knew it.
Maybe.
In first form.
That's what right with the doctor.
They wouldn't approve of that,
prescribed.
but it's okay.
We need a fudge
They do have some solid chocolate protein flavors.
formula.
they do.
You know.
Yeah. Formula One fudge.
Yeah, peanut
Yeah.
butter.
They do have a solid. I think that one actually might be chocolate fudge, but yeah, dude, I got so just lazy. I think I was still doing work, on the podcast, on other things, and studying for lessons at church and things like that. But
It's hard to get back in that grind. We had a couple days off.
I was I learned something about myself. I don't want multiple weeks with nothing to do.
Yeah.
Like that's not good. And I learned that, which is cool. But yeah, which makes me think, dude, I was revisiting Alone from the History
Yes.
Channel, which David still has not got
Nope,
on
I
this
have
train.
not watched it.
It's so good.
I'm waist deep in it right now.
But, looking at that scale and seeing the number that I saw, I thought about the people on Alone who started out as a heavy number. And by the end, they just
Dwindle down.
dwindle down. Really, that show's about starving. Who can starve the longest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just interesting that I was thinking about that, and I'm thinking, man, maybe I just need to go on like a 10-day survival trip.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
I'll
you
just...
need to fast your vision for 3 days.
Speaking of which, I did get a sweet migraine mask that you put in the refrigerator, and it's like cooling gel, and it just covers your whole face. It was so funny. I have a picture of it.
So
I sent it to
side note,
them, and
yeah.
I was like,
Charlie sent
day
us a
one.
picture of it, and Brittany was so confused. I had to explain it.
Then she said, "You're dumb." Well, it was funny. But yeah, it was a good Christmas break, a good holiday season, and man, I spent some time. We spent some time on this segment, but I spent some time with Hillary's family, and believe it or not, I'm a pretty introverted person. I love people. I love being social, different things like that. But I have a battery, and I spent Christmas Eve with Justin and Amanda and Jared and the girls. We came over and we had Christmas Eve with them, celebrated Christmas with them, which was great. It was such a good time. Kids loved it. Santa came to our house and dropped off presents, literally.
Which one?
I don't even remember what they are called, or else I would shout them out. But
Kiwanis.
yes, thank you. You do. You're from Manchester. Kiwanis does this thing where you send in a present and they have Santa deliver it on Christmas Eve. So
Yeah,
it's
my
like,
parents always have it for David and Nora too,
Yeah.
because we go to Daniel's on Christmas Eve.
but it's funny because they come in on a sled and it's being driven by towed by a truck. So it's funny. And the most hilarious thing was that behind Santa this year was a police detail. So the blue and red lights are just going off behind him, and I'm like, we got him.
Oh my goodness.
Santa's on trial. But it was fun. So we did that, and then the next day, we get up and my brother-in-law comes over and does Christmas. Well, first girls, you know how the kids will wake you up at like 6:30 in the morning, ready to open presents on Christmas Day.
And you stayed up all night wrapping them, so
Right.
you're tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that happened, and we do the Christmas presents with the girls. We have breakfast. We do all that, and then her brother comes over. Hillary's brother comes over, and he has a whole truckload of presents for the girls and for us. And we open presents with him. We have brunch with them. And as soon as that was over, Hillary's aunt and uncle came to our house and did presents with the kids. And we had dinner with them. And as soon as dinner was over, we went to her other uncles to have dessert and do presents with them. And so my Christmas day was from like 7 in the morning to almost 1 o'clock.
You had a day.
And it was a long day. And I remember we get home and I sit down in the bed and I said, I love everybody. I feel so fulfilled. I need to stay in this room by myself for at least a day.
I love you all. Leave me alone.
But I'm logging out. Like it was so, I was like, I didn't realize, to the point where I didn't want to do anything for New Year's. I just wanted to stay home.
So we had kind of a marathon. We hosted every event because I take that back. We usually do Christmas Eve at my brother's, but they both had to work, so we did that a day before. But we had my parents over on Christmas morning, her family over Christmas afternoon into evening, and then we ended up hosting her big family Christmas, which is like 25 people. So I cooked a turkey and we did all the food and hosted everybody. And at the end of everything, I just looked at Brittany and I go, this was a marathon.
Yeah.
And she goes, no, I'm with you. This was a lot this year.
Which
so-
is nothing wrong. Like,
No.
I'm in the same boat. Like, I'm an introverted person, so like, I guess I found out like what my limit was. Like,
Yeah.
I can't do all day things where I'm just with people all the time.
Right.
And
What a blessing to be able to have
but
that
it's
as a
great.
problem.
Yeah, it was great.
But it can be a lot.
And sometimes you just want to be alone, you know?
Yeah.
Like I just wanted that time alone. I needed that space where I was just by myself. And I was, I had an appointment on Sunday morning to preach. So I had to prepare for that while my battery was drained. And then I proceed to speak a whole 20 minutes in only 20 minutes.
He came up to me after I got out of my Sunday school class and he goes, bro, I only went 20 minutes.
I said, I'm scheduled for 35 minutes and I only went 20 minutes. Got it 15 minutes early.
To make you feel better, I was driving back from Louisiana at the time, and we had stopped to go to the restroom real quick, and so we went. By the time you get 4 people in and out of, like, I think it was Buc-ee's, to be honest.
Oh,
so it took a while, right?
Yeah.
So I went back in, and I looked down and was like, "Oh, it's like 10:25 or something like that." I was like, "Oh, so the first song is probably just over."
No, the first
Charlie's
sermon's
probably
over.
just getting started, and you'll appreciate this. I logged on and it was like it was nothing, and I was like, "Oh man, they forgot to turn the live on."
Oh.
Let me blow up Justin, and I think we blew up Francesca at this point. We're like, "Hey, the live's not working,"
He's done.
and then we get a text back. It's like, "Oh no, first session's done." I was
Yeah.
like, "Powerful."
Yeah, it was good stuff. No,
But
happens.
but to make you feel better, multiple people have talked about
Yeah.
your lesson.
I
So
did get really good feedback.
is
It was
not-
just 10 minutes
It's not
too short.
always in the.
Sometimes it's not about the quantity, it's the quality.
Thanks, you guys are great
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
No, it was honestly, I told my wife and pastor, I said, I literally said everything I planned to say. I don't think there was something that was lacking. And I'm used to teaching the youth in a 20-minute slot.
Yeah, because by the time you get over here
Yeah.
and all that, that's all you have left.
Yeah.
And
And so from my mind, it was like normal. Like, and then with the youth, I go 40 minutes, way too long. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so it was funny. I don't know. It's
you
just
just
funny.
it's
Time in.
that
you know.
that clock in the back.
Yeah.
It's got like
Got to look at it.
you gotta get used
It's
to
there for a reason.
It's gotta get used to that.
But it was good. But
Did you know we didn't go to the moon?
And how do you explain Harvest Moon?
Wait, so Backbone Coffee went to the moon?
No, they didn't go to the moon. They roasted it. Medium dark, notes of caramel, honey, and chocolate.
It tastes like lunar excellence.
Bro, this coffee tastes better than a moon landing filmed in a warehouse.
Well, whether you believe in the moon landing or not, believe in Backbone Coffee's Harvest Moon.
Roasted to order, ships fresh in 2 to 4 business days.
And you can get 15% off with the code Casting Faith.
Backbone Coffee, the Casting Faith podcast.
Fuel the grind.
Question everything.
so you said you traveled for
Yeah.
For the holidays?
Yeah. We're down in Louisiana, and unfortunately, it was 80 degrees the whole time I was there. I was like, let's go. You know?
That's fortunate.
Yeah, it
For
was
you?
being sarcastic,
Oh, a
but
little bit of
I
sarcasm.
loved every second of it. The only negative thing is not thinking through stuff in the bag. I pack in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, whether people know it or not, there is wash machines in Louisiana. So like me, I'm like bare minimum. If I do
That was a shot.
do spill sweet potato casserole on my clothes, like I can throw it in the wash machine, So I get down there and I'm like, oh, all I have to wear for Christmas is this really hot sweater. And it's 80 degrees. So it was a little warm, but it was a blast. I got to see a lot of my great aunts, great uncles that I haven't seen in
That's
a very
awesome.
long time, and I haven't celebrated Christmas with them in quite some time. And it was really neat seeing my kids who were 6 and 9 playing So my Gentry, spell his name with a J. I have he has a cousin.
Shout out to Gentry.
Yeah, my
Love you, dude.
cousin named her kid Gentry with a G.
Mm.
And so they're about the same age. So they are playing all day long together. Got to see them interact with the people that I grew up with, their kids, playing all
fun.
day.
Yeah.
We played cabbage ball. Is it, you know what cabbage ball is?
I've heard of it.
No.
It is
I don't.
it's
Must be
it's
a
a lot
Louisiana
bigger
thing.
than softball, but it's soft. Like it's very difficult to hit very, very far.
Okay.
And you don't need gloves.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
like it's all like, so my great aunt, she's in mid 70s and she still plays. Like,
Oh, that's fine.
yeah,
that's cool.
I mean, it's when I say that, she's actually really athletic. But anyways, it's a game where everybody can play. And
That's
so we
awesome.
played that. We played football, and then we played every year we used to play. And my mom, as far as she can remember, she's played this game called Tin Can Alley. And so you wait till it gets dark, and everybody gets like a mop stick or a broomstick, that doesn't have anything on the end. It's just a wooden stick. Everybody has one of those. And then you have an old can that's empty. And you draw a circle, and you put the can in the middle of the circle up top. And whoever's it to begin the game, close their eyes, and you count to like a minute. Everybody goes hides, and it's at dark, right? So you're hiding, and then you go 3, 2, 1, start the game. And it's almost like hide and seek in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But whoever leaves that circle and walks away, trying to find somebody, like someone else can like sneak up and hit that can out of that circle as hard as they can, and that person, before that person gets to them, and that person, whoever's it, has to go get the can and move the
before they
stick.
attack
You
it.
can't pick it up, but you got to hit the stick, stand it back up, all with the stick. But the whole point of the game is, if you're it, is to say, okay, if I see David over there, I'll call out your name, and I hit that can as far as I can, and then you have to go get that can and bring it back. But this game has been, I don't know if it's our family game or what.
Sounds like a Louisiana
It
thing.
is.
Sounds like somebody's getting a hit in the shins.
Yeah, well, that happens sometimes. But I got to see I grew up playing it, right?
Yeah.
And my mom grew up playing that, and I got to see my kids play it. And
That's fun.
Driving back, Gentry's like, Dad, we have to go find a farmhouse with lots of land. So he's describing my great-grandfather's house where we all celebrate Christmas. We have to find a farmland that has a farm, and then has a farmhouse. He's like describing it. It has to be exact, and has lots of land, and we have to get a can, and we have to play this with everybody in Ohio.
That's awesome.
So
Be fun.
it was. I spent a lot of time explaining this story, but
No, that's okay.
it was
That's
a
fun.
blast. It was a blast.
When you're kids, like those childhood memories and games come back, and sometimes it's like that might be a legit game that happened for multiple people or that region or whatever, or it may be something that your mom just made up.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, growing up with my grandparents, me and Justin would just go outside. We had this back patio, and we would just make up stuff and play games. And, it got me thinking of one of those times we were just scrounging around the garage, which was not used for parking vehicles. It was used for storing stuff back in the day. You know what I mean? And we would just go around in the garage and mull around a little bit, see what we can get into. And we found this can, and it looked like a salt shaker, but it wasn't. And it was just like like the cardboard can.
Yeah.
It was like a seasoning, but we didn't know what it was. And we were like, "Oh, cool! There's something in here." And we were shaking it up, and we were outside, and we were like, "What if we throw it real high up in the sky? What would happen?" And we did. And I threw that. I sent it so far into the air, and red powder just started floating down. And we looked up, and that red powder landed in our eyes, and it was just, it was chili powder. Right in the eyes. And we come running in blind, just running inside, screaming, Nan, Nan. And we look in, and she's got our head in the sink. What are you two boys doing? And we were just figuring out that, like, back before all the stuff, you just kind of got into whatever you could. I don't know why I told that story, but it was just a memory that popped up. Like, who thinks of that? Like, kids think of fun things to do, weird things to do, and sometimes it doesn't pay off. And you learn what chili powder does to your eyeballs.
Yeah.
So
It's not good.
no, it's not good. Not good. Another time, same. Justin was with me, and we were outside playing on that same patio, and we were playing. We must have watched Karate Kid or something. There was like a training montage, and I was like, "All right, Justin, you're gonna be my teacher,
Mr. Miyagi."
And he was like, "All right, pick up that rock." And I went, "Yes." And I started to pick up that rock, and this was this big boulder, and I'm just lifting it, and I'm doing curls with it, and this is like 10-pound rock. I'm like 7 years old, I got this 10-pound rock that I'm doing curls with, and I felt like I was about to do like a wheelhouse kick to somebody, and I dropped that rock right on my sandal toe, and ended up in the emergency room. They had to take my toenail off, and it was so painful, so painful. But you learn things, Sometimes you learn things.
Building character.
But all of those times, it was just me and a friend who were left, my cousin. We were just left alone, just to figure out how to have fun. And man, think of all these stories, and we talked about it a little bit earlier. Is that we love people, we love spending time with people, we love the family get-togethers, the memories that are made are so important, and especially that time of year, Christmas time, New Year's, all the things you want to spend time with family and friends, and that feels great. But there comes a time, at least for me, where I just needed to be alone.
Yeah.
It was tough. It was such a packed schedule where I just needed a minute to just decompress. And by a minute, I mean a whole day to decompress and just be alone. And my wife understands this about me, and it's just the nature of an introvert, but I just needed time alone. And you were on, I think, a couple of times, and we talked about how the Bible says it's not good for man to be alone. But this isn't a contradiction, but the reasoning why being alone matters. And sometimes being alone is a God thing, and it's not a bad thing.
Absolutely.
Sometimes being alone is a God sent thing, and it isn't a sinful thing, or it isn't a I'm just isolating because I'm hurt, or I'm just isolating because I don't love people. But it's a timing and a tuning season where you just need to be alone with the Lord. And so I think that there's room for that. And we're going to talk about that today. But before we get too deep into all of that, we got a story. You ready for this story?
I'm ready.
Okay. So we've talked about it a little bit at length. We've been in the Christmas parties and the New Year's parties and all the things. We've been eating all of these things, all the fudge, and cookies, all those things we've had, and we've overindulged in certain areas, and we are getting back on track to normal life, right? But the holiday season can be one of the most busy seasons.
Yeah.
You're just go. A lot of people. And, and when you have a good job and you're working in a business, or you're doing ministry, or you're an outdoorsman, or you're fish, or whatever you are, life gets super busy and super noisy. Especially with all the technology and different things that we have to deal with. We're constantly on our screen. We're constantly doing something. And there's this thing that's going on right now where it's pretty wild, that people are paying thousands of dollars just to escape all of the noise. And by noise, I mean no phones, no music, no notifications, no talking at all. They're paying thousands of dollars to go to a retreat to just sit in silence. Which sounds about as crazy as the going blind for 3 days.
Yeah.
But people are paying thousands of dollars to escape the noise.
I mean,
They actually have chambers that people get into. It's called a deprivation tank, where they get
isolation chamber, Dragon Ball Z.
yeah, rejuvenation chamber. But it's a tank that you get in. It's got salt water in it, and the buoyancy's different, and all of it's completely blacked out. And you get in it, and you sit in there, and you hear. It's so quiet you can
Is
hear
it
your
like
heartbeat.
Eleven's tank?
Yeah, similar. It's where they get that concept from.
Sensory deprivation.
But people are paying thousands of dollars to go on retreats to sit in quiet, no phones, no tech, no communication, and they get this tank. They get all of these things, and these retreats are popping up all over the place where people and the whole entire point is just to be silent.
Huh.
Which is wild. Like, thousands of. Hey, you can do that for free.
Right. That's
Like,
what I'm
yeah,
saying. Like,
I mean-
the concept makes sense, but
Yeah.
you can do that.
All you need is a tree stand and a hunting license.
Yep.
And exactly. So stop paying. It's
Or-
$10,000s of dollars on guns and ammo and tree stands.
You could get in the river when it's a little bit too high and float on down too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh my god.
Go to Painesville with some waders. on.
Yeah, that'll do it. You'll hear your heartbeat for sure. But psychologists are saying that people don't actually hate being alone. They hate what surfaces when it gets really quiet.
ooh, yeah.
So the outgoing people, not me, like the extroverts, need people all around them because when they are alone, they have to deal with all the things that come out in the quiet. And so it's an interesting thought. And
That's heavy.
and so when you deal with those things in the quiet, in the wilderness, in the $1,000 salt tank or whatever, you have to confront those things. And so sometimes it's not a bad thing to be alone. And it's crazy that people are paying to do something like that, like thousands of dollars just to
I'm
do
feeling
that.
like, what kind of investments can I make
Yeah,
to invite those
right.
people to
Yeah.
pay thousands of dollars and
Yeah.
I'll just send them a place to be alone?
Yeah, it's funny, but it's funny because, and we'll get into this in the Bible later, but it's just people are catching on to what Scripture talks about. Like secular people are figuring out principles of the Bible.
Hey, isn't that the way that it usually works though? Like the Bible's been teaching us these principles for years and years and years, but we need somebody else to present it to us.
You should probably fast social media every once in a while. You should probably fast, all this noise and settle down and get alone with God, And so we know that the principle is that God speaks in a still small voice, and sometimes you only can hear that if you get alone with Him. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, and it kind of connects with another trend that's kind of going crazy right now. Outdoors therapy. Doctors and therapists are literally prescribing time outside.
Let's go.
I love it.
So instead of sitting in an office or cubicle, people are going hiking, sitting near water, spending hours in nature. And it's actually showing in the data that anxiety is dropping, depression eases, and people are getting that clarity of mind. They're finding that nature does something to our brains that we can't replicate on screens, believe it or not.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a thing where we kind of knew this.
Yeah.
Like, you knew that, like, remember your parents used to tell you don't get so close to the TV screen, you'll what? What'll happen?
You lose your eyes.
You'll lose your eyes.
You
You'll
lose
go
your
blind.
eyesight.
You're gonna go blind.
Yep.
And and so they tell you to take a step back, and they would limit it. And back when we were growing up, it was so limited. You'd have to put a a tape in the TV to watch a movie, and now everything is just click and play and skip and man, like scroll, and that constant, just what that does to your brain. You got to slow down, and it's just funny that we have to pay thousands of dollars and have a doctor prescribe us a timeout outside.
Well, you used to pay for the entertainment, right? You pay $1,000 to be entertained to get away from the aloneness, and now you got to pay to be alone.
That's
So
like
it's just
what
totally
is happening?
flipped.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Welcome to 2026.
And so, what we're saying from these two stories is, sometimes you got to be alone, and sometimes you got to be outside. And which brings us to the real question of this episode was, is Jesus an outdoorsman? Because he surely spent a lot of time in the wilderness.
Yeah.
Jesus wasn't inside a whole lot. And the environment of the wilderness was a place where transformation took place.
Absolutely.
Especially in the life of Christ. And so I want to talk about that a little bit. When you start looking at Scripture closely, something becomes very clear. God does not form leaders in comfort. And as men, we're leaders of our family, right? You're never going to get to where God wants you to be if you're always comfortable, And, he forms you in seasons that could be uncomfortable. For me, it'll be at a youth camp serving with hundreds of students and multiple people that I'm forced to interact with for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And I'm an introvert, so that's a lot. That burns my battery. But that exposure does something to me. It refines me. And also in times of just getting away as well, where you're spending time off screen and you're spending time in prayer and fasting. We're doing a 21 days of prayer and fasting at FAC Talmadge right now. And that time away from things and alone with God is where real refining happens. And I think sometimes God calls us to these alone seasons, not to punish us, but to not to break us, but to prepare us for something, you know?
Absolutely.
And so, and when the Bible talks about the wilderness, it doesn't always mean a desert or, you think of this, we joked about it a little earlier about the show Alone.
Yeah.
It doesn't always mean you're going to have to starve yourself and survive and build tents and fires and all the things. But it just means that you need to spend intentional time alone with God.
Yeah.
And so we've said it at length a couple times on the show that, it's not necessarily a good thing for man to be alone, but it is a good thing when God calls you to be alone.
Yeah.
And so I want to help
Purpose,
somebody.
Yeah. There's the purpose behind being alone. Why are you being alone?
Yeah.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
always a negative,
Mhm.
right, the side of things, but there's also a positive. Like, what is the purpose?
Yeah.
For you being alone?
Right.
Is it going like towards God, or you're trying to
Yeah.
retract away?
Yeah, because for an introvert like me,
Yeah.
getting alone, like having 2 weeks off is a party. Like I get 2 weeks off where I don't have to talk to anybody. That's great. Like, which sounds so backwards, but like, the people. Some people like to be an island and just. We talked about this last episode. There was a guy who was missing for 17 years in the mountains of Bulgaria, and he was reported missing, and he was issued a death certificate. And the park rangers found him recently alive, just camping in the mountains for 17 years alone. Like, that's not good. What are you running from? Like, that's not good. And a lot of people in the comments, we did clips of that episode, are like, he just wants to be left alone, but like, that's not good.
He was in the military, right?
I don't remember the whole. I should have did a little more research, but
Yeah, I think it was in the military, and like I think it was
like MIA.
what country was it?
Bulgaria.
Yeah.
Is it like the Civil War was going on or whatever?
Oh, I've heard that too. It's a different.
It
might
may be
a
something
story.
different, but he retracted like in retreat, and like he was like hiding.
Yeah.
And
I've
he
heard
literally
stories.
thought that even the commercial planes that would go over, he
Would
thought
go.
that it was. Man,
Yeah,
can
it's
you
crazy.
imagine?
It's so wild. And yeah, like, so there's bad reasons to be alone, like, people on the run or trying to escape, whatever. And then there's good reasons to be alone.
So,
go ahead.
Are we jumping into like the full?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one thing that I want to point out too that ties into what you're saying is sometimes the bad things can lead to good things in the wilderness as well. And I think of the Old Testament with the Israelites.
Mhm.
God never intended them to be in the wilderness, but in that wilderness, that brought up Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
That was his time of shaping. We don't really hear much about it, but that's where he was shaped into the leader that he became. He was one of the spies that came back and said that, yes, we could go in.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't until after that wilderness that he became the leader of Israel that conquered all the enemies in Canaan.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a mistake that led to the wilderness for Joshua. Not so much on his behalf, but the behalf of the people that he represented. But that wilderness developed him into the leader that he became.
Mm-hmm. And that's not an uncommon thing, back then, even Jesus himself, if you go to Matthew chapter 4, verse 1, Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness.
Yeah.
Why? To be tempted by the devil.
He faced that alone too. That's what stands out to me.
Yeah.
With that. It wasn't with the disciples with him. It was just him.
But think about that scripture. If you just look at verse 1, it says, "Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil." That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
That sounds like a bad season. That sounds like a bad reason to be alone. I don't want to be tempted by the devil.
Yeah.
It sounds bad. It sounds like it's not a good thing. But there's a very, very, very important 3-letter word in this scripture. LED. Led. Jesus was being led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be alone, to be tempted by the devil, to be proven, to be formed into what he was supposed to be. That word led matters. Jesus wasn't dragged into the wilderness. He didn't beg to be in the wilderness. He wasn't punished by going to the wilderness. He was led there by the Spirit before public ministry, before miracles, before crowds, before any of that. There was fasting, there was silence, and there was testing.
Yeah.
And to anyone out there who is on any stage with your walk with God, just be encouraged by that. Sometimes you're led by the Spirit into an uncomfortable season so that God can prepare you to do great things. You're led by the Spirit to do an uncomfortable thing, as uncomfortable as it would be to go camping in the wilderness and be tempted by the devil. That is the most uncomfortable thing.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever slept outside on the hard ground. I like it. It's not everybody's thing. You know what I mean? It's not everybody's thing. But to be alone and do that, and then to be tempted by the devil, that
Right.
sounds horrifying.
40 days too.
Yeah.
You think about how hard it is for us to like conceptualize the fact of being alone in the wilderness for a week.
History
Or 21 days, these challenges you see on Discovery Channel, History Channel, whatever. 40 days and 40 nights, and then tempted by the devil.
Yeah. On top of starving and trying to build your shelter and trying to just survive.
But it was preparing him for his ministry.
You got
it was
spiritual
preparing
attack.
him for everything that he needed to do.
Yeah.
And everything the devil tempted him with was shortcuts to get through everything quicker.
Yeah.
But he knew his goal. He knew his purpose in the wilderness at that time in his life.
Yeah. I think the biggest point is that it wasn't a punishment.
Mm-mm.
And
It was preparation. 100%.
And so,
Ordained by himself.
Yeah. Yeah, which is incredible.
Mhm.
Greatest mystery of godliness.
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible to think about. But so many times we think of it as a horrible time, a horrible season. We got friends going through the worst season of life right now. And they'll tell you like this is a God thing. Like it's not necessarily a bad thing. Yes, bad things are happening, and I feel like I'm alone in this season and all of these things, but God is preparing. He's not punishing.
Yeah.
And it's critical to understand.
Perspective is a big thing when it comes to the wilderness.
Yes.
You can take the wilderness as a time to die, or you can take the wilderness as a time to prove yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like COVID was that way, right?
Oh,
During
absolutely.
that time, you were literally alone, not like by yourself, but your family. Like, and I think that we all had a decision to make during that time. Okay, we can either pursue God, because, I mean, you were at that alone place where we weren't congregating together at church. You literally had to make that decision when you woke up every day. Like, okay, I'm still going to live the life that's pleasing unto the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going to have my devotions. I'm still going to do these things in this alone season. And unfortunately, we've seen a lot of people that chose the alternative.
Yeah.
But you also saw those people that chose God.
Yeah.
And it propelled their ministry forward. It propelled their family forward. There was revival in the home.
Mm-hmm.
But it was all what spun from that alone season.
Yeah. Man, I remember that season when we talked about it probably at length. If any loyal listeners, you're gonna be like, oh, here he goes again.
Yeah.
But
It's good though.
the stories, man, like for me during that season, it was the worst season of my life. Like I lost so much during that season. But it was in that season where God did refining for me. And I couldn't lean on Brother John or Brother Christian or Brother Dave. I couldn't have you guys. I couldn't just be with you all the time like I am normally, like I was alone. I couldn't even get together with you and worship with you at church. I was worshiping in my living room. And man, I lost my mother. I lost my uncles. I lost my aunt. I lost my father-in-law. I lost connection. I was forced to be alone. And this is such a familiar story for everyone had this season together. And it was such a trying season. And then coming out of that season, is when I decided to write my book on encouragement.
Yeah.
And a lot of that got written in that time. Be Like Barnabas, Sons of Encouragement was written, during that season of me being alone. And what the whole point of the book is just to live like Barnabas did and encourage people. Encourage so many different aspects of your life. And so I wrote a whole book in that season. And then the idea of the podcast came in that season, and I got my ministry license after that season. And so like did all of this preparation in the worst season of my life. But it wasn't a punishment. I didn't do anything to deserve it. It was just a time that God, for me, had to refine and prepare.
So I feel like that goes back to what I was saying about Joshua as well. It wasn't a time of a punishment for him. I mean, he had to endure the punishment that Israel had to go through, the wandering in the wilderness. But that time in the wilderness is what helped develop him as a leader. It's where he stepped into those roles. It's where God prepared him. So yeah, he could have taken it as, why me? I'm the one who said we could do this.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He chose to allow that time to shape him.
Yeah. And so, man, John, do you have a season in your life? I don't know. I'm kind of putting you. I did this to him last week,
Yeah,
but I'm
he's
putting
good
you
at
on
this.
put you on the spot.
He writes the episode so he can put people on the spot.
Do you do you have a season in your life that you can look back on and wonder, man? And don't worry about time. But do you have a season in your life where you look back and you think, man, this was an alone season, but this was a God season for me that you could share, even if you shared it before?
Yeah, I mean, two right off the top of my head, and they were within a 2-year span, well, 3-year span. When I first moved overseas, I was in a place where um, I'm not an introvert, so I had lots of friends. I wouldn't say that we're very close friends, but I had a lot of friends around me, right, from school and from in Louisiana, and I thought that I was going to be around them for the rest of my life. Graduate high school 2 weeks later, I'm in a foreign land, and yes, I'm surrounded by like my family, my twin brother, my siblings, my parents, but I lacked friendship at that point. And I will say I had some great friends that sacrificed a lot of their time. I'm sure they didn't always want to talk to me these odd times because we were so many hours ahead of time. When it was daylight hours, my time, it was night here, but they would Skype in and weekly and check in. But man, as soon as they hung up the phone, it was back to like, okay. And there was a season there that, yes, I was doing the work of the Lord, right? Like God was doing great things, but I felt so alone.
Yeah.
Without like,
I can only imagine. It's gonna be tough.
So like, and thank God that I had a twin brother there, but your brother's still your brother, right? You don't want to tell your brother everything, right?
Yeah.
But we've always been very close, and I thank God for it. But man, missing out on that like friendship, and was in a place where you had to be very careful on who you trusted from that nation because you didn't know if they were being genuine or not.
Yeah.
Are you being my friend just because I'm an American? Let's be honest. Very blessed to be an American and to be born in this wonderful nation. Now, so it was always like, yes, people will befriend me and be a friend to me, but so many times there was alternative motives that I found out about. Kind of burnt me, and it made even me feel more alone.
Yeah.
That was a big season, but in that season, God did some amazing things in my life and really built who I am. During that season, I saw miracle signs and wonders. My faith will never be the same again during that season. Now, even though I was alone and I thought I was going through it, God was building something in me. And I'm so thankful for that season. Second season was when I moved to Ohio. Man, when I moved to Ohio, had some really great friends that really rallied around me in Ohio. Sometimes though, they were trying so hard to be my friend, I just wanted to be alone.
Yeah.
And looking back, it's like, man, I probably could have handled some of those situations a lot better. But I was dealing with some stuff where like, hey, like I've been away from this friend group that I had built over all my life. And now I'm back in the States and I know God wants me in Ohio and I know these people are wanting to be my friend, but I just want to go back home and be around where it's convenient.
Comfortable.
Comfortable. I grew up there. I had career path there, and now I'm in a place where all these people are generally trying to be my friend, but I didn't even want to invest in it. And looking back, there's like 5 or 6 of those friend group that I finally was like, okay, this is my core group of friends, right? But I was still alone. There was those times and seasons that it hit that I was like, man, I miss my family.
Yeah.
My parents. I didn't have my siblings here yet. My brother here yet. I didn't know you guys just yet. But those people that are around me during that time, and some of them listen to this podcast, they don't know how much they mean to me and how much they affected me. Some of these families would have me over for Thanksgiving, right? They didn't have to open their home to me, but they did anyway. And like, I'll never forget those people.
Yeah.
And makes me want to go call them right after the podcast and just tell them. But they know who they are if they're listening, right? Like, they really helped me through.
Yeah.
But then it got to a point where, like, okay, I had an opportunity to go back home, and I was ready because I was like really down in the pit, so to speak. I was just. But during that time, like, I learned to listen to the voice of God and what He wants for my future in my life. During that alone time, it became very clear. Okay, yes, as much as I want to go back to Louisiana, like, that feeling like God's calling was here.
Yeah.
And I felt that so strong. And during that time overseas, like, all this built up to this point. And through this period of alone, like, someone would come into my life and I was like, they would fix that alone season for me, right?
Yeah.
But then God would say, let that go.
Yeah.
Let that go. And that was probably the hardest thing to do. But because of that obedience, though, during those alone times, I thank God for it. I had some great people around me to encourage me through that time. I was able to say, okay, God, I'm going to answer your call and I'm going to stay.
Right.
And if I wouldn't have stayed, honestly, I think I've shared this before, but it wasn't even weeks later after I made that decision to stay is when I met our pastor. Yeah. And it was at that moment where, to be honest, the day that I met our pastor, I was going and I was so alone. I was in my bedroom where I was staying, and a great man of God that I was living with knocked on that door and said, John, get up, get dressed, you're coming with me. I wasn't even near about dressed. I was like in that room for probably 2 days and didn't want to come out. And that was the last thing I wanted to do. But I was submitted to him, right? So I got up. I'm going to be honest with you. I had a white T-shirt on, and we're going to a business meeting. He's like, you're coming with me. I put a pair of slacks on, and this is not me. I think I had white socks on with dress shoes. And I threw a winter coat over my white T-shirt. This is, if you know me, this is not me, right? That is not me.
Yeah.
But I was so alone and I was so down. And he said, you're coming with me. And I was like, okay. And he's like, all right, drive us here. And we show up to this meeting and I walk in, and there I sit beside Pastor. And he starts talking to me and invites me to come play ball on Talmadge. And I meet Christian. And because of all that, I meet my wife.
Yeah.
During that alone time.
Yeah.
Is what set me up for my future.
You really learned to trust God in the alone time.
Yes.
And, it makes me think, and we've talked about this a lot recently, but it makes me think of David. If it wasn't for that alone time in the field, it's not so much the wilderness, but alone time. And we can correlate the alone time to the wilderness. But David fought the bear and the lion in the alone time, and that prepared him for that giant.
Yeah.
If it wouldn't have been for those moments in the alone time where you learned to trust God, you wouldn't have been prepared for what was next, meeting Pastor, meeting Christian, meeting Ashlyn. You wouldn't have been prepared for that moment. And then in the ministry you have now, John does a fantastic job of leading the greeting team at our church. John is, if you've never met John in person, he's one of the most personable people, one of the most likable people I've ever met personally. And you wouldn't have allowed yourself to get to that point if you wouldn't have trusted God in that alone time.
And it's a very hard thing to do, but I can tell you, there was a point in my life where I felt like God stripped everything away. He took away my career path that I thought I had, right? I wanted to be in the medical field with everything in me. Guess what? I'm the furthest from the medical field, right? Like, I had it all planned out. I had my friend group. I had this. I had all this set in stone. And God's like, no, I got something greater for you. But at that time, right? Like,
It's hard.
and it was stripped away, and I was going through a blood disorder. But God, and during these stepping stones, I was like, God, if this is really your will, heal me. And He healed me. And I'm like, okay, next stepping stone, right? Like, okay, now I'm alone. What are you going to try to do with me here?
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this because of me. I'm saying this during these alone times. I know this sounds really crazy. You need people that'll tell you the truth in your life,
Yeah.
whether you want to hear it or not. And I had those people
Mhm.
in my life, and I thank God for it, because if I would have gone by just my feelings, I would not be here right now.
Right.
Right. And that goes back to what we say a lot. It's important who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
So
your
true.
circle of brothers matters,
Mhm.
or your circle of friends. I shouldn't say brothers and isolate the women, but
Mhm.
your circle of friends matters. Who you allow to influence you is a big part of your life.
Yeah.
And in those alone times, who you have to speak into your life, who you can trust to speak into your life, because there's going to be people that are going to speak in whether you like them to or not.
Yeah.
You got to have that discernment. We talked about that recently as well. That discernment of saying, hey, this is a trusted voice. This is somebody that's conveying God's message to me at this time in my life.
Yeah. And I think too, listening to that from you, we look back on that season for you. It was multiple stages of a wilderness. It may have not been pine trees and all kinds of things that you find in the wilderness, but it was a season of you were separated,
Yeah,
you were
isolation.
isolated, you were moved into something that was uncomfortable, and then you would get an answer, and then it would change you. It'd be like walking through the woods. You get to a certain point, and okay, well now you got to turn this way.
Yeah.
And now God's moved me from the States to a mission field. What did I learn here? Okay, I learned that lesson, and now He's moving me to Ohio.
Yeah.
And what am I going to learn here? And thank God He made you stay here. But it was if your response and the reason behind that isolation is that's why we're talking about what we're talking about today. It's the reasoning behind the wilderness, not the wilderness. If you're in the wilderness to escape people, like my nature would be to just run away and be the guy in the mountains for 17 years. You know what I mean? And I'm sure I'm being facetious a little bit, but like I would want to separate, like I did after Christmas. I want to be alone for a while. There's a difference between wanting to alone just because you don't like people or you don't like your circumstance. So you're just going to give up and you're going to quit and you're going to stay miserable and you're going to stay in this terrible season because this is who you are and this is where you're at. And that's where I am. Bless God. Like that's bad. It's not good for you to be alone that way. But if the author of your season is the Lord and He's calling you to refine you in isolation, that's a different thing. And that's what we're talking about today. Sometimes it's a good thing to be alone.
If I may say one thing, and you can cut this out later if this is not appropriate, but I would say, but don't let the alone times give you an excuse to not be active in the kingdom of God. During those alone times, you still have to remain active.
Yeah.
I've seen it so many times where someone can use that alone time as an excuse to like, okay, well, I'm going to retract from everything.
Yeah.
And listen, we are alone, but yet we're in contact with people every day.
Yeah.
Our mission never changes, even during those seasons.
Yeah.
So I'll be quite open with everyone. During those alone times that I was still doing kingdom work on a mission field, right? I was still praying for people to be healed. I was still actively involved in whatever I was doing. But during those alone seasons that sometimes God calls us to or takes us through, there's still, and it just reminds me so much. Like you can look back and throughout everyone's life, honestly, the people that really retract never come back.
Yeah.
So you have to remain active. And you were just talking about working out on Sunday night, right? And then like the way you feel, like so many will
Where's the
feel that
punch?
feeling, including myself. They'll feel that
Pain.
the breaking of the tearing of the muscles, and they feel that. and then they retract and they never come back. And
Right.
Yeah.
like I feel like it's easy sometimes if you do go through the alone season to have an excuse
yeah.
not to
Yeah.
remain
And-
active.
And
Yeah.
to tie that back into like the outdoors, it's easy to fall in love with outside. Once you're away from the noise,
Mhm.
there's like I get unbalanced. I'll go to any river or tributary for every day if I could. It'd be dangerous if I lived near the Grand River. It'd be dangerous if I lived near, amazing. Like if I was in Montana, you would never see. You know what I mean? I'd be hunting or fishing.
To
and
that
I'm
point,
never
even
gone,
I
I'd never
don't
be
live near the Grand River, but I'm dangerous when I get to the Grand River. I don't stay in the same spot.
No.
I keep going.
You got to keep looking for him. You got to hunt him down. He just finds his own spot, and it's peaceful, and it's
is.
addicting almost. Like
Yeah.
I want to do it every day.
There's a reason that they're prescribing the outdoors.
Yes,
it's where
100%.
we've talked about it. I think in the last episode we talked about it. There's a connection between man and the outdoors.
Yeah, and God created it. It's God's
Yeah.
greatest creation.
And that's
one of his
something,
greatest creations.
it reminds you every time you're out there, like how amazing is God.
And we're
Yeah.
doing this.
Yeah.
With a tablet
Yeah.
all the time.
And
It's
guess
like,
what you're seeing when you're doing that? Nothing real.
Right.
Man made. Yeah.
It's nothing real, So
Yeah.
you see the best version of everybody.
Yeah.
But when you're out in the wilderness, you see the best of God. Too.
Yeah.
So
it's
like,
incredible.
it's pretty amazing.
But
It's
yeah.
really different when you go out there and you're standing in the wilderness and you can't see houses, you can't hear cars, whatever.
Yeah.
And you just take a deep breath.
Hmm.
Close your eyes for a second, exhale, eyes open, and it's just God's creation. And
Yeah.
it's refreshing. It's refreshing to your soul, it's refreshing to your mind, to your body,
Yeah.
every avenue of your life.
I think it's funny too. We joked about it in the cold open. Was Jesus an outdoorsman? In Matthew 4:18-19, it says, while walking by the sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers casting a net into the sea.
Fishermen.
He saw fishermen
Yeah.
and he went, those are my people.
Hmm.
He went, them are mine. And so we have a large outdoor audience and a lot of fishermen listening to us. And, a lot of community built for the Casting Faith podcast is fishers of, fish.
Yeah.
Fishers of fish.
And, people who love to be outside hunting and fishing and things like that. You're God's people,
Absolutely.
and it's, you don't have to be into all that to be God's people, but I feel like he had a special connection with those people who spent time outside. He didn't walk into the temple to meet the Pharisees and start picking them out to be his closest friends. He went to the unlearned. He went to the fishers. He went to the he went to the common folks
I think you went to where
where he
he could be
received too.
trusted.
Yeah,
And I don't know a carpenter that doesn't love the outdoors.
yeah,
Right?
I truly believe he had calloused hands.
yeah.
He knew how to.
Yeah.
He knew hard work.
Yeah.
He did that. He didn't walk into the seminaries. He walked the shorelines. He
Mhm.
didn't interrupt sermons. You know what he did? He interrupted work, hardworking fishermen. That's who he interrupted. And he said, hey, follow me. I know you've been alone. You've been working hard. And I respect that. And I believe in that. But hey, come be alone with me. Drop your nets and I'll teach you something greater than this.
So a point to that I'd like to make too, and you see it throughout the Old Testament. You see it even at the beginning of the New Testament with John the Baptist. He uses people that understand that the wilderness isn't a time of isolation, but a time of preparedness.
Mhm.
The disciples, John the Baptist, David, Moses, Joshua, everybody we've talked about understood that time in the wilderness, that time of isolation was preparing them for something greater.
Mm-hmm.
If it wouldn't have been for the lion and the bear, he would have never faced Goliath. If it wouldn't have been for the wilderness, Joshua couldn't have been the leader of the Israelites. If it wouldn't have been for the wilderness, Moses wouldn't have had his burning bush moment.
Mm-hmm.
The wilderness is a time of preparation, and Jesus sought out vessels that understood that.
Yeah. So I think he was an outdoorsman.
Yeah. I think
But-
so too.
And for those reasons, why fishermen, not scholars? Because they listened. They were available and they were familiar with hard work and God respected that and saw that. And so, what do you think Jesus saw in those fishermen and the outdoor people? What do you think? Because it's a common trait. It's not just one off. What do you think he saw with these types of? Each disciple reaches a different community and a different. There's a point behind it all, but
I think with the fishermen, you're not going to have a good day every time you go out.
I know that one for sure.
But what do?
You keep fasting.
You keep going,
Mhm.
right? So I don't think he called people that would quit.
Yeah.
I think he
That's a
called
good
people
point.
that were like, no matter what, these people I think it was loyalty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
That's awesome.
It's pretty hard to
There's-
follow someone. Everybody else is getting dropped around you, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
Uh-huh.
through the good and the bad, bad weather, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fishing.
Yep.
You know,
Snow, still fishing.
You know, haven't caught a steelhead in so long. You're still going out there.
Casting.
You
Think
know,
I'm done, bro. Cast again.
what's
Yeah.
crazy for them is it was their job.
Yeah.
So,
I heard it said, I don't know if this is true. I'd have to really research this some more, but I heard it said that, the miraculous catch that they caught. We're talking about the boat with Peter, when he said cast again on the other side.
mhm.
After, again, talking to those people who, he was having one of those seasons where he was out all day, all night, not
Yeah.
catching anything. And then the rabbi comes up and says, hey, take me out here. And that's surely the last place he wanted to be after getting skunked. And it was his livelihood on the line. Take me out here so I can be heard. Jesus says that. Take me out here so I can speak from your boat and so I could teach these people. And he obeys. And then he says, okay, and by the way, cast on this side.
You said it. Obedience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He obeyed, even though he didn't want to, even though he just picked all the seaweed out of the net 10 minutes ago, he's going to cast again. And he did that. And they caught such a miraculous catch that it started to sink the ship, and the nets were breaking. They had to call another boat to come and help them bring in this harvest. And the amount, if you price out the fish, it would have been enough for them to retire.
What is that? Correct me if I'm wrong here, but it says net, right?
Mhm.
Is it? So I believe that God even had more for him.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Internet.
Yeah.
I believe
Well, they will.
the Lord asked them to cast out their nets, and it says they cast out their net. So
Interesting.
and they had so much in that boat that it was thinking. I believe that the Lord's blessings are
Bigger.
abundant when we respond with obedience.
Yeah.
He has so much more in store for us. But sometimes we're obedient to a point,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Oh, I want you to do. Have you ever felt prompted to pay for someone's meal?
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at their total.
Looks like it's McDonald's.
I think the Lord made a mistake here,
I
you know.
covered the
And
tip.
then the next person walks up, you pay for the meal because they got a Happy Meal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I think the Lord still bless you for paying for someone's Happy Meal, but like, what kind of blessings could have been unlocked?
He went, well, they listened a little, so here's a
Right.
little blessing.
Right, but hey, when the Lord
Yeah.
says cast out your nets, throw them all out there.
Yeah,
and see what
to go
happens.
all in, be 100%, go all out.
Yeah.
And I just think it's interesting that Jesus would call people like that, and you can see it play out throughout. It was a refining of those people that built the church that we're in right now, and it's incredible how God does that. And so the point of today's episode that we wanted to just really hit home was that, we want to hear God. We want to be around people. We want to do the work of God, but we hate sometimes the conditions where God speaks. Sometimes we hate to be alone, and we hate to be in the wilderness. We hate to be in these dry seasons, but it's in those seasons where God speaks and he calls and he refines and he forms. And the wilderness is not a punishment, it's preparation. And so I hope that encourages you today. Solitude is sometimes called, isolation is sometimes called for. And there are times where it's not good for man to be alone, and we've talked about that at length. But the type of alone that we're talking about is a call to the deeper waters. It's a call into ministry. It's a call into your purpose of life. It's your call to get closer with God. And those seasons will always call for a wilderness and a time of refinement. And so we hope that encouraged you today. We're going to move into some other points of the episode, and we, are excited about it. But we got an ad. Don't go anywhere.
First form, Formula One, clear, rainbow, sherbet.
No, man, it's sherbet. Two
No.
R's and a T. Everyone knows that.
No, there's only one R and one T, dude.
Bro, don't mess with me. I remember the T. I grew up. I knew that I had sherbet-flavored push pops.
Well, it's the Mandela effect where even your protein powder is rewriting history.
Well, whatever timeline you're in, it's delicious.
Light, smooth, 20 grams of fast digesting protein.
Call it whatever you want. It tastes amazing.
First form, Formula One, clear sherbet.
2 R's, no T, full recovery. Get
Fuel
you
the
some.
grind, recover right.
Get you some
Creatine.
creatine,
Formula One, clear protein.
protein.
Creatine.
Taste. That's illegal. I can't say that.
I want to give a big shout out to Jesus Tent Revival. Right now, Dr. Braden Anderson and the Jesus Tent Revival are taking Jesus back outside. No church walls, no performance pressure, just tents, prayer, worship, and the truth. And so when you see that in Scripture, this is not a new thing. This is not a new thing. It should feel familiar when you read it. And we've talked about it all episode. Jesus preached outside. He healed people outside. He called people outdoors. He did all of these things even when they weren't trending. And so we're bringing this back, and it's biblical, and we're pumped to see what God's doing with Jesus Tent Revival. Genuine believe that this perfectly aligns with the hearts of this show, bringing the gospel to the whole world, even outside. And so it's cool to see, and so we're super proud of what they're doing. Just wanted to give them a shout out from the show. We love and appreciate what they're doing at JesusTentRevival.com. This feels it's not a they're not a sponsor or anything like that. I just saw it and thought it was cool. He was the guy at Congress baptizing people and stuff. So it was sweet. But I wanted to give them a shout out today. In the wilderness, bringing Jesus to the streets. That's an incredible mission and a goal. And our goal in this show is to bring Jesus to the stream and bring Jesus to the the boats and the communities out there that maybe feel like they. We've all met people who feel like they can't walk into a church building.
Yeah. And
we're trying to be a bridge for you guys. You belong, and you're just in a season right now. And so we want to reach out to you guys and are excited for what God is going to do in your lives. And so if you're a listener of the show and you've been with us for a long time, we want to thank you. And we're excited for the growth of this channel. We're excited for what God is doing. And we're excited for the future of the Casting Faith podcast. And so big shout out to all of our listeners today. We are sitting just over 3,000 subscribers on YouTube. We've crossed over 500,000 views and many watch hours. And so the people who have stuck with us from the beginning, we thank you, and we're excited to see what's going to happen. We have a lot of goals coming up for the Cast and Faith podcast, and we're excited to build the casting crew, and that's you guys. And so if you're still listening to this podcast after an hour in, just type in the comment section casting crew on YouTube and we'll know it's you. And so we're excited. Share some of your alone stories. Share some times where you feel that God led you into a lone season in the comment section. And one thing I want to do something different this year. A lot of times in the Cast and Faith podcast, we talk about fun stories that happen or unique history moments that happen or strange things that happen. Leave those in the comment. We're inviting the casting crew to leave a weird story, leave an interesting history story, leave a current event, leave something in this section, and we'll pick from these to talk about on the show. And so it'll be a greater way for you to be involved in the show. Real quick, I know we're like way into the episode. We're landing the plane here. Want to do some overrated, underrated, and I want to have two bonus stories to talk about if my computer doesn't die, because it's low battery. All right, overrated, underrated. Do you think that camping in the wilderness alone is overrated or underrated?
Underrated.
All alone.
Underrated. You're not giving a timestamp on that, so I'm going to say underrated.
Yeah, I'd say underrated. I think you need that time of self-sufficiency.
Okay. At risk of losing the man card here, I think I'd be terrified.
I don't know.
Where are you at?
Well, one day, me and David went camping together, not alone, but we were alone, and we were on an island in a certain reservoir. And
we'll revisit this episode.
We are definitely going to revisit
about it.
We are going to talk about it at length again in a new episode.
No, we need to make that happen again.
I don't think we can make
I don't
happen
think
what
you
happened
can.
again.
No, what I'm saying is we need to go back to the spots.
Yes. We'll make it happen. Anyways, I was a little frightened for my life when I had one of my best friends with me. I can't imagine being alone in that circumstance. in the woods, in the wilderness. But I do think there's value in it. So I do think it's underrated. I think that I would just be I would have to carry a little confidence with me, if you know what I'm saying.
Little Second Amendment.
Yeah, yeah. We'll just leave it at that. But I'd be like, I don't know. It just seems a little frightening. But I love the wilderness. You know what I'd love to do is Camp the Grand. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of private property though.
Yeah. Oh, I found that out. Speaking of that,
yeah,
we were on a fishing trip, Brother John. It was the episode where we were successful and almost drowned. But we caught our limits, and that was awesome.
You caught your limit. I did.
Well, I
caught one.
You hooked into more than one.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was a grind, but it was a good trip. And I remember crossing that river, coming back over. There was this guy, and he goes, "Any luck?" And we go, "No." And you guys? And he goes, "No, but you should know you're on private property over there. The landowner, he's threatening to call the cops and have people arrested." And he was saying it in a way that was informing, but almost in a way that he was
condescending,
backing the landowner a little.
Was he the landowner?
No, he was not. And I went, okay. I was like, yeah. I was like, we were in the water. I know there's no signage or anything. Didn't know that. Thanks for letting us know. And he was like, yeah, you'll get arrested. Like real, like kind of, certain way about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And then we proceeded to catch those beasts.
Yeah.
Those, 6-pounders. So
not at that
awesome.
spot.
Not at that spot.
No.
No, it was at the is down in the public access area. I don't know.
Which, yeah, we entered in public access.
Yeah.
There wasn't any signs posted. I think we were fine.
It's tough.
Part
We
of
weren't, like,
exploring.
We weren't intending on trespassing on anybody's property.
No. And honestly, if there's a sign, I would rather be where no people are.
Yeah.
So, but I just thought it was funny. He was super aggressive, and I was like, all right, man.
I fished that spot like 7 times before that.
I've caught like 20 fish in this forbidden spot.
He could be telling a fib.
Yeah. He just wants my honey hole.
He wanted the honey hole.
He was just too scared to cross.
Yeah. David has
There's a lesson there, man.
David has David went fishing without me.
Yeah, I took my brother fishing right after Christmas. I've taken him up past 2 years on Christmas Eve and then the day after Christmas this year.
Wait, I
And,
gotta interrupt for 1 second. This is the same brother whose resolution has been for 13 years. Don't get shot.
Right.
Okay.
That's hilarious.
No, my brother, if you've never met him, he's a big guy. He's 6'2". He's a big guy, and he's a duck hunter, but he doesn't fish a ton. But I took him steelhead fishing, and he still hasn't got one. He'll get one soon though. But we went up there on the day after Christmas, and we got to the river, our spot on the Grand, and I looked down at the river at that first access point, and I go, Daniel, this
is where me and Charlie almost died.
Said we probably shouldn't get in. He goes, "Oh, we're up here. We might as well." I said, "All right, so we'll drop in here, and we'll see what we can do." So we fished off that first island right there, from the first access point, and didn't get anything. So I looked in. We fished for probably about a half hour. Nothing, no bites, no nothing. The water was high. I'm gonna be honest. When I saw the water, I didn't expect us to catch any fish. But we're up there. It's an hour drive. He doesn't get to do it all the time, so I wanted to take him. And I said, "Daniel, I'm going to cross right here to that log. It's a log that's probably about 40 yards away from where we're standing." I said, "Follow me if I get there. If I turn around, obviously we're not doing that, but let me go ahead of you and follow my direct path." I said, "Okay." And I start crossing. And I look, he's right to my right. He's not following me. He's right beside me. And he stops to fish for a second in a spot.
In the middle of the river?
Well, yeah, so kind of in the middle. So you know how it branches off? You know what spot I'm talking about, where the log's at? You're on that island over here.
Yeah.
How it opens up to that channel. He stopped to fish in that channel right there. And the water's flowing heavier there. But I kept rushing forward, and I get to the log, and I said, "Okay, it's going to drop off about right there." And he doesn't say anything. So I turn around, and I see him not floating down the river, but he's flapping his arms, like keeping himself above water as he starts to go around the bend. I go, "Daniel." He goes, "I'm fine, I'm fine." He goes, "The water just got a hold of me," and I started to go, and he got up on land. He worked out fine. I think he got his phone a little bit wet, but he didn't get soaked. But sure enough, I thought I was going to lose my brother in the river that day.
Hey, Daniel, it's happened to the best of us.
That's exactly what I told him.
It happened to literally every one of us at some point.
Yeah, I told him the exact same thing. I said, everybody that comes up here is going to fall in at least one time. Don't think anything of it. But it was funny to see.
Yeah. Were all of us together on that bridge?
I was not there. I have not fished with you for steelhead, John.
Okay.
I would like to.
That was a pretty fun time too. Just laughing
Oh
at all of us like slipping on the rocks.
Oh my gosh.
And we were like hugging the edge of the
Yeah.
bridge, and if you stepped
Oh,
off,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be
I know what
like.
you're talking about.
But yeah, it's almost like a nervous laughter that just carries on.
Yeah, and I love fish. Don't get me wrong. I love fishing alone.
12 years ago is when we threw the water up into the.
Oh,
I know that's a side note, but my wife just texted us, and we've talked about that story before.
Yeah, the
where-
polar vortex
Yeah, I
came.
think 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Talking about that.
We just got sent a picture of us throwing the boiling water in the air
Yeah.
and making Archibald the snow warrior.
Yes.
It was, man, yeah, I've had times. One thing I don't want to do, I love fishing alone, like getting off on our own spots.
Yeah.
But I don't like going alone to steelhead fish. I like going with a group and then kind of finding our own spots and then regrouping for this reason.
So
you could fall in and get
you
sweat.
guys have got on
quick.
me a couple times for doing that.
Yeah.
Because I'll send a picture that I'm up there and the weather's terrible and I
Yeah.
shouldn't be up there.
Yeah.
And then I don't respond to them for an
Yeah.
hour
And I'm
afterward.
like, dude, like,
So last
don't
year,
you go dying on me.
Last year it was pouring and I went up there. I had taken the day off work. I wasn't going to not go up. And I sent them a picture, a selfie with the river behind me. And Sean and Charlie both were like, "Hey, bro, the water's too high."
Yeah.
And I started fishing, and I ended up not staying long. But I had my phone on like drive mode or whatever it's called on the way back. And my wife calls me after about an hour and says, "Hey, are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." And here Charlie and Sean had been blowing up Brittany's phone, making sure I'm okay because I didn't respond, and they knew how bad the water was.
Yeah, dude.
But I stepped in one time, and I instantly backed away because there was no way I was going to cross. It was that same spot that we almost died in.
Yeah,
actually.
dude. Anyways, it's a solid fishing spot.
It
so-
is.
but
You
beware.
might die.
Sometimes it's
You may
worth
die.
risking.
But don't go alone all the time. I'm just
Right.
saying. But we want to thank everybody for listening to it. John, thanks for jumping in today.
Yeah,
It's always an
absolutely.
honor
Thank
to
you.
have you on.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for what you do for our church.
A little bit of that Cajun spice.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
Little ton of sashes
But
on top
you
of
get-
it.
wait, hold on.
Honey Chipotle.
Yeah, I want you to.
That's the best.
I want you to try this.
That is the best.
This is First Form, one
Am
of
I
our
trying
sponsors.
it like live?
Yeah,
Is that
go
what
for
I'm
it.
Do
I
it.
want your honest reaction because, people from the South have a higher tolerance for heat and stuff.
Oh, is this hot?
No,
No,
not for
it's
you.
good.
Not for you. It won't be. But you just tell me your honest thoughts. This is a First Form meat stick, and it is honey chipotle, one of my favorites. It's got 18 grams of protein. There's no added SMGs or added nitrates. It's gluten free. It's perfect,
This is like a whole meal.
bro. It's perfect for the fishing trip.
Yeah.
Throw it in your bag. You got to have a snack. We've had friends who have went out with SpaghettiO cans. Looking at you, Delaney. Cold SpaghettiO cans and a spoon. This is a better snack choice for when you're out on the river or hunting. Honey chipotle flavor is one of my favorites. I would have to say this one's my favorite flavor so far.
Yeah, honey Chipotle is my
is
favorite.
Packed with flavor.
What do you think?
Oh, the flavor is so good. It's not like your regular meat stick.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's like a sweet heat. It's good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorites. So if you're into this kind of snack, no pressure, but firstform.com/castingfaith. Every purchase you make through First Form and our affiliate link, you only have to use the link one time and then you're our customer for life. And every purchase you make helps support our show. So if you're looking for the perfect tackle box snack, I would go with these honey chipotle meat sticks.
Hey, let me just say too, they're not like that slim Macho Man Randy Savage sponsored meat stick that you find at the gas station either. They're not like tiny.
Oh, it's
These
hearty.
things
They're
they're
huge.
yeah.
Yep.
They're a meal in and of itself.
Yep.
18 grams of protein. They're perfect for on the go, perfect for throwing in your bag to have after whatever, before you need to be somewhere. They even have, I saw today, a breakfast sausage flavor.
Yeah.
So,
They got quite a selection.
yeah.
So if honey chipotle is not your jam, check out the link and look up all of the flavor options. And so, again, no pressure. Just so grateful to have First Form as a sponsor. Thankful for Marcus from Two Clever Fellas supporting the show for a whole year. We're appreciative to our friend Marcus. If you are in this season, right now we're wrapping up the Christmas season. I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to contact Marcus for next year. And if you want holiday lights installed next year, you want to call Marcus today and get that scheduled. And if you want something a little more unique, He does do the forever lights that kind of go under your gutter, and you can control the color and different holidays you could throw up. For the 4th of July, you could do red, white, and blue. You know, for different holidays, you could do different things, and it's cool to have, or just for night, the aesthetic of having a nicely lit house. And so, want to shout out Marcus from Two Clever Fellas. Thank you for supporting the show. And last but certainly not least, Backbone Coffee. Guys, everyone drinks coffee. Almost certainly, if you're an outdoorsman, you're drinking coffee. It is the go-to beverage to get you going. Hear me now. You know how we said Jesus loves the outdoorsman? Backbone also loves the outdoorsman, and they love the hard workers. It's what their whole brand is based on. Support a company that supports what you're building, what you're doing, and who sees you, who sees the hardworking man. Backbone Coffee is the place to be. The link is in the description. It's delicious coffee. There's a different grind for each person and each flavor preference. If you like dark roast, they got 3 options for dark roast. If you like light roast, they have a light roast. They have medium roast. They have a bunch of different flavors. My personal favorite is rolling coal and graveyard shift. But there's overtime grind. There is Harvest Moon is a delicious medium roast. It's so good. And Jack of all trades, which is the light roast, which is the most caffeine. Yeah. And so we want to make sure that you guys have that opportunity. You're already buying coffee. Why not support the Casting Faith podcast and a company that supports you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good quality, especially for the price point as well. It's something to be said about supporting a fellow outdoorsman. I know Cam from Backbone Coffee is an outdoorsman. I see some of the pictures from his hunting trips. He is what we are.
Yeah. And
love to support a small business like that. Love to see Backbone grow. And hey, it's quality stuff. Mm-hmm. It's not just because they're a sponsor. That's legitimately my favorite coffee.
Yeah. So good. And so I want to thank our sponsors this year for following, for supporting the show, following us, helping us out.